I'm Kristen.
My name's Trinity.
I identify as biromantic.
I'm a female and I'm bisexual.
No.
No.
Biromanticism is the romantic attraction to the two binary genders for me.
I like more than one gender.
I am romantically attracted to men and women.
I like guys and girls.
Asexuality is just the lack of sexual attraction, and it's not exclusive with romantic attraction at all. The way I figured out what my sexuality is,
I think I knew when I was around 13.
I first found some of the terms through the internet.
I liked girls, and I knew I did, and I had a crush on my best friend. At the same time, I liked guys a lot, but I didn't actually know what the name for it was called yet.
And that made me think about a lot of what I'd been experiencing in my life.
I didn't know that you could have both. I thought you had to have one or the other, and that made me really sad for a long time.
All my friends reacted well.
Most of my friends were pretty accepting.
I haven't told my dad.
My mom didn't really accept it, and she thought it was a joke.
Mom hasn't really talked about it at all with me, even though I've told her, so. The first time I came out to someone, it was the last day of school, freshman year.
I would tell some of my friends, I think I'm a lesbian.
We were in her bathroom, and I think she was getting ready for a dance recital or something. I just spat it out.
And I'd say, no, that's not right. And I would go back and say, like, I like boys too much. I didn't know that bisexual was a thing. I thought you had to choose. Can't choose. There's Victoria's Secrets magazines under my bed. Dating a guy.
It felt nice to tell someone, so.
I want to date who I want to date.
My life isn't very different at all.
Being bisexual hasn't made my life very different, except when I'm walking with my friends, I get them to say, ooh, she's cute. I can become like a gay friend, or maybe it's sometimes easier to relate to guys sometimes.
I've personally been very lucky.
I have been discriminated against a few times by people who don't think that it's possible to like girls if you haven't been with girls before.
There hasn't been very much targeted at me, though I have faced many situations in which people who are nearby have used language against gay people or exhibited actions against gay people. I found that to be scary, but it's never been targeted directly at me, so I feel like I've been very fortunate.
I know myself that I like who I like, and I can't help it no matter what they say. I just like to say, you can be whoever you want to be, and if you ever need anything, come to me.
I joined GSA so I could have a larger role in our local gay community or LGBT community.
I'm in GSA because I know there are a lot of people out there who don't know that being gay is a thing or that it's okay, and I want to make people feel accepted and spread information about it.
Please welcome Laverne Cox.
Transgender very basically means that the gender that you identify as is different than what you're assigned at birth. I think so often when trans people's experiences are talked about, we always far too often focus on surgery and transition. Transgender people's experiences are really different. It's an individual experience, so there's no one like sort of blanket transgender experience. So it's really about listening to individuals in terms of who they are and accepting people on their own terms.
You made history as the first transgender on the cover of Time magazine.
This cover is really not even about me, it's about my community, and it's for my community. I think it's for all of the trans folks and anyone who's ever felt like they've been told that their story doesn't matter, that their lives don't matter.
Yes.
This is, in a lot of ways, a symbol that our lives do matter and our voices matter.
Do you recall the moment in your life when you decided to go from male to female?
It was an evolution for me. There wasn't one sort of specific moment, but when I moved to New York City and actually met real trans people, I had all these misconceptions about who transgender people were.
Yes.
And when I actually got to know real trans people, all those misconceptions melted away.
Yes.
And so I was able to accept myself, and then I was able to transition.
Now,
there's so many trans folks who have inspired me and who have influenced me, whose names don't get to be spoken. There's so many voices out there, so many people doing amazing work who don't get the same attention I get, so I want to always shout them out when I can.
Successful, but I was really just playing a part, trying to please everybody else, because God forbid they find out who I really am. And I got in touch with an enormous amount of shame, and I had, like, I just was carrying around this sadness inside and this shame of the fact that I was gay. Who I am. It's who I am. Who's everybody else to tell me that that's wrong?
It is such an honor to be here at the inaugural Time to Thrive conference. But it's a little weird too. Here I am in this room because of an organization whose work that I deeply, deeply admire. And I'm surrounded by people who make it their life's work to make other people's lives better, profoundly better. It's weird because here I am, an actress, representing, at least in some sense, an industry that places crushing standards on all of us. Sometimes it's the little insignificant stuff that can tear you down. There are pervasive stereotypes about masculinity and femininity that define how we're all supposed to act, dress, and speak, and they serve no one. Anyone who defies these so-called norms becomes worthy of comment and scrutiny, and the LGBT community knows this all too well. You're here because you've adopted as a core motivation the simple fact that this world would be a whole lot better if we just made an effort to be less horrible to one another. Loving other people starts with loving ourselves and accepting ourselves. And I know many of you have struggled with this, and I draw upon your strength and your support in ways that you will never know. And I am here today because I am gay, and because maybe I can make a difference to help others have an easier and more hopeful time.
For me, I fell in love with a dude and started spending all my time with him, and therefore you don't want to be like suppressive of that. I think to the second part of your question, like why don't more people do it? I mean, that's an easy thing to say, but if you're struggling with any of that yourself, you can't just go like, oh, okay, and then do it. Like it's little baby steps of acceptance in your own personal sphere.
I'm just a very lucky person in so many ways and my experience has been so different than the people in this community, and I've learned that over the last few months.
Right.
There's nothing better than to wake up in the morning and be able to be your authentic self.
Yeah.
Now is the time to talk on this issue, to come out publicly, because I was getting destroyed in the tabloids.
So here
I met someone and it made me feel so happy, so safe, and everything just feels great. And well, that someone is a guy. Well, in an ideal world, I wouldn't be doing this video because it shouldn't matter. But of course, I still fancy girls. But I mean, right now, I'm dating a guy, and I couldn't be happier. Is it a big deal? Well, I don't think so. I'm still Tom. I still want to win an Olympic gold medal in Rio 2016 for Great Britain. I'm still motivated as ever to do that.
I put out 2 versions of the video. One that features a heteronormative plot line, and one that features me in a homosexual relationship with a woman. And I'm an artist that identifies as bisexual, so it was an opportunity for me to express that and show that part of my identity to my fans and represent, a part of me that I think I wanted to see represented more. Both of the videos follow essentially the same storyline, except the second one I've just replaced the lead with a woman. In the first video, the press is like, oh, like this love story, like Halsey's new love story video for Ghost, like Halsey's new blah, blah, blah. And then I put out the second video, and the response was immediately, Halsey's controversial new video, Halsey's racy new video. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, simply by changing the gender, this becomes more sexually explicit, and that's because lesbians in pop culture are often portrayed as pornographic.
I want to learn why it is so offensive to actually just say that you grew up as a boy. And
I think that we need to have a discussion about what gender is and gender expectations in our culture. I think that we are born and we're assigned a sex at birth. That is a matter none of us have control over, but we do have control over our destinies and over our identities, and we should be respected. It's not about what surgeries I may or may not have had. It's not about how I disclose my gender to people. It's about who I am right now. I'm Janet Mock. I'm author of Redefining Realness, and I'm a fierce trans advocate. If I spoke out every single time that someone called me out of my name or labeled me as something that I'm not, I would not have time to advocate for the...
You always knew you were gay?
Yeah, it's I sort of describe it as you know that the sky is blue, but you keep telling yourself that it's red. How you go through anger, denial, and all, it's just But when you finally get to that point of acceptance, there's nothing more beautiful. That gay stereotype, you know what? I think that people like me are trying to rewrite that stereotype. Let people know that you can't just put people in a box.
I'm a football player and I'm gay. Is this a huge deal? I understand that it is, but my purpose and focus right now is playing football. I came out to my team this last August, and coming out to them, they rallied around me, they supported me. I knew in that moment that this can happen anywhere. If my team can support me, any team can support me. And I can't tell society to agree with this or not to agree with this, but hopefully society will rally around me and support me too.